Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing our Genesis Liberation quest for Lucid, and at the same time I'm going to give you guys a tip and guide video on how to do this boss, and I guess mainly from the point of view of just solos. So what I usually do right when I enter Lucid is I try to jump to the side before she summons golems, and when she does, then I try to get to the middle as soon as possible. This fight in the beginning was kind of a meme because I forgot to pot most of the time, and I'm just so used to my pet auto potting for me, so I just forget about potting altogether. So I did end up losing a few lives relatively quickly, as you'll see in a bit. But other than that, nothing too crazy. So the first step I have for doing Lucid, or I guess even Lucid in general, is you want to focus mainly on your character in phase 1 and not so much her, because she's going to be stationary in phase 1, so you really don't worry about where she's standing and if she's going to be moving and such. So it's not ideal to be focusing on her because it doesn't matter. She doesn't really matter that much. What matters is mainly the golems that she drops on you, because those can get rid of one of your lives relatively quickly. You want to avoid golems. That's basically the main part for phase 1. You just don't want golems to be dropped on top of you, so you want to focus where your character is standing and make sure when a golem comes on top of you, you want to either jump out of the way, dash out of the way, or teleport out of the way. You just don't want to be around that area, so that's why you want to focus on your character and not her. And like I said before, you want to be staying towards the middle because mushrooms do spawn from the mid right and mid left, so you want to be kind of somewhat under her for the most part, because if a mushroom randomly spawns, then you're kind of stuck and it's going to keep pushing towards you and you'll die rather quickly, because they do half your HP, which is very crazy amount of damage. One thing to know about golems is you can jump over them and teleport through them without taking any damage, but you have to keep in mind that you cannot do the same thing for golems. If you jump over a golem or teleport over a golem, even if you make it over, you get potion locked and you take a good chunk of HP damage. I think it's around 60%. So jumping over and teleporting through a golem is a bad idea, and this only applies after they land. If it's before they land, it'll be fine. So you see there are a lot of flower patterns that she spawns in sort of a diagonal and vertical situation. What you want to do is basically don't stand in them and make sure you definitely don't go over them. So what that means is you don't want to be in that area where the flowers spawn, and after they get popped, you don't want to be standing inside of it for the next half a second, because she does do quite a bit of damage with those flower patterns, so you don't want to stay inside the area. The sickles that she spawns do persistent damage, so don't stay inside it for too long. She does summon butterflies that shoot pellets at you, but I wouldn't worry too much about those unless you're at very low HP. And obviously cleanse if you notice a lot of butterflies in the background. And for dragon, I would just basically stay mid right, mid left, and go to the other side. If you don't see dragon 3 seconds after the message appears where it says she summoned a powerful monster, bombs do about 199% damage, so you need to iframe it or will it before it gets to you. I noticed that it happens every 2 minutes in phase 1. So first bomb was 28:45 and then the next one was 26:45. And obviously you want to focus on clearing golems until enraged, otherwise you'll get teleported onto them, or they'll jump on you or land on you and you die. So just keep that in mind. And also it screws you pretty hard when there's a dragon. And ideally you want to just save bind and burst for enrage if you can. So for phase 2, if you fall, your HP gets halved and you get potion locked. So ideally you don't want to fall at all if possible. I know in normal Lucid And easy Lucid, if you fall to the bottom, it doesn't matter because you don't take any damage at all. But for hard Lucid, you don't want to be doing that because you'll die out very quickly. In phase 2, she also summons the butterflies, similar to what she does in phase 1, and they just shoot little pellets at you. And it's not really a big deal, and I wouldn't be too concerned about them, but you should be very concerned about them if you have a bomb and or if you fall and your potion lock, because those can get you killed pretty easily. And as you see, there are golems that she summons and she drops them on top of a platform, and once that platform gets dropped and broken, it won't be broken for another minute and a half or so. So yeah, golems are not as crazy in phase 2 as it is in phase 1, because in phase 1 you literally cannot move if there's a golem, whereas phase 2 it's not really a huge deal. All it does is really just break a platform, so it's not a huge deal and you probably won't die from it. So sometimes she also summons dragons in phase 2, and for phase 2 there are safe spots, just like how in phase 1 the far left or far right is a safe spot depending on where the dragon is. But for phase 2 the dragon is a lot more constant. There are basically 3 safe spots. The first one is the far top right platform, the second one is the far top left platform, and then the last location is the far bottom middle platform. Usually I like to stand either top right or top left, but keep in mind that top left platform can be broken by a golem because she does drop golems on top of it. So just keep that in mind and get ready to jump to the far right platform. And sometimes she also does this really annoying combo where she does touch plus dragon or dragon plus laser. If it's touch, it's a lot easier to avoid in my opinion, because all you have to do is basically just jump and just time your jump properly, so when she comes towards you, you basically are in the air and she can't reach you. And this applies to top right and top left platform. For the bottom platform, you basically just stuck and you should be able to be out of range and not get hit by touch plus dragon. Now for the other annoying combo is laser. For my class it's kind of hard, but for classes like Zero, you can basically teleport everywhere in midair and basically walk in midair. It's a lot easier to avoid. But for classes like mine, I would suggest just stay on the top left platform and just move along the top left platform, because you have a lot more room to move around and dodge the lasers. Whereas the top right and bottom, you really don't have much wiggle room to move around. And there's no guarantee that you'll survive the laser plus dragon combo either, so just keep that in mind. It's not a guaranteed survival, it's just the top left platform tends to give you better survival. But again, just all luck at the end of the day. As you notice in phase 2, she also summoned sickles, and for phase 2 sickles, you have to be a lot more concerned because they do huge chunks of damage and they do persistent damage, which means they'll keep damaging you as they push through you. So you can basically get one-shotted by those sickles if you aren't careful. So just keep that in mind, and you want to avoid sickles as well. If she's doing just solely touch, I usually just go to the bottom right because it's just my favorite spot personally, but I know that platform does break if you aren't careful. The bottom right platform that I'm talking about is basically the one right below the horn. You can even stand by the horn, but I just like the bottom right platform. Don't ask why, it's just my favorite platform. You can also go to the middle, top left, and there are other safe spots, but again, bottom right is my favorite platform. Do what works best for you. There are a lot of safe platforms for touch. For bomb, it's the same concept as phase 1. It does a huge chunk of damage, around 199% I think, or 190%. And it feels like it happens every 2 minutes. The first one happened at 24:22, then 22:35, then 20:22, then 18:38, then 17:01. So those are a timestamp where when bombs happen. So I think the bomb cooldown is around 1 minute and 30 seconds ish. But don't quote me on that. It's just, this is what I marked for this video. And obviously cleanse every so often, and ideally you want to save a few cleanses for the last parts while you're waiting for your burst to come off cooldown, because the burst phase you want to wait a bit before you actually can burst. So you don't want to use all of your cleanses up too early, and you want to be able to have some cleanses while you wait for your cooldowns to be off. If you do get unfortunate timing and you don't have enough cleanses and you have to deal with the butterfly stage, where she basically summons a bunch of pellets and they're all shooting at you, those one-shot you, you can either stand at the 12 o'clock direction or 3 o'clock direction. It depends on what pattern she's doing, but those two are generally somewhat safe, again dependent on the pattern itself. While you're waiting for your burst to come off cooldown, what you want to do is focus on the golems and the platform that you want to stand on. So like I said before, the golems drop on a platform and breaks it, and then they won't drop on it again for another minute and 30 seconds to 2 minutes. So you just want to pay attention to that and make sure that the platform that you want to stand on during the burst is broken before the burst happens. Otherwise, if the platform breaks mid-burst, you lose a lot of DPS that way, and if you don't have enough damage, you will fail the burst. For the burst phase, I usually use a jump ring, weapon jump ring from Oz. You can also use a Ring of Restraint 3 or Ring of Restraint 4. I just like jump rings better because it doesn't summon a barrier, so if for some reason I move out of the barrier zone, I still have my weapon jump ring on, so I like weapon jump rings better, but you can definitely use a ROR. And right before the burst happens, you want to have a bind up ideally. So you can bind her first and then basically get ready and do your burst. And again, as I mentioned in my other video on how to solo Lucid part 3, you want to summon your Arachnid Reflection below the middle line, because if you summon it above, it won't kill her or touch her. So what you want to do is make sure you summon the Arachnid below the middle platform. And that's pretty much it for my hard Lucid guide / liberation solo. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe and comment if you have any questions below. I've also released a membership for people who want custom emoji and badges to my channel, and you can just hit join and find out more information there. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.